So when it comes to electric guitars, there are of course the two giant companies. We have Fender and we have Gibson. And within each of these companies, the two most iconic guitars are the Stratocaster and the Les Paul. Maybe you disagree, maybe you prefer the Telecaster and the SG or the 335, but for me it's always been the Stratocaster and the Les Paul. But to be honest, I've never really loved either of those two guitars. Let me explain. Growing up, I always played Strats, but the second I had enough money to buy my own pickups, I replaced my neck pickup and my bridge pickup on my Strats with humbuckers. And even when I moved on to Parker guitars, they were Strat style Parker guitars and they had humbuckers in the neck and the bridge. And as my guitar journey continued a bit more, I really started to love the idea of a set neck or a neck through guitar. And so I thought to myself, well, I like a set neck or neck through guitar, I like humbucker pickups, and I'd like a darker tone. Even though I had never owned a Les Paul up until that point, it was clear to me that I'm probably a Les Paul guy. So I got the Gibson Les Paul and I thought it sounded amazing. And then for the next 6, 7, maybe 8 months now, I've been trying all of these Les Paul style guitars, but the one thing none of them had that I really wanted is a tremolo bridge. Now when it comes to Gibson, you're either going to get a Bigsby, Floyd Rose, or you're going to spend a ton of money and get a different 2-point tremolo on like one model I think they have. I honestly think the best version of a Les Paul is one that has a tremolo bridge. As I tried all of those Les Paul guitars, I kept thinking to myself, man, this really beautiful dark neck pickup tone would be so much better if only this guitar had a tremolo bridge. And then I thought to myself, it would also be better if I had better high fret access. And then I thought to myself, it would also be better if it was a bit more comfortable. And well, then we have this guitar. This is a Kiesel. I will put the exact model somewhere on screen because I forget. But as you can see, it's a Kiesel single cut. And this is my favorite Les Paul, period, that I've ever tried. And this guitar concludes the Les Paul experiment. It's not just a Kiesel single cut style Les Paul guitar. No. I mean this guitar with these pickups, the Perform Axe, the way it's currently set up, this is the ultimate Les Paul style guitar. So I'll talk you through the specs of this guitar, what makes it special, and I'll also explain how I kind of attempted to bridge the gap between a modern kind of a thing while still keeping it somewhat retro. Let's begin. So starting from the headstock, I think Kiesel really knocked it out of the park here. I like it a lot more than the heritage style headstock. Now, of course, the headstock on a guitar is not going to be a deal breaker for me personally, but I'll just say it again. I love the way that this one looks. And I also really love the fact that the truss rod cover is wood color to match the headstock. It kind of blends in and it looks really, really beautiful. And then one modern upgrade that we have on the back here is locking tuners. You also notice that on this headstock, that break angles on the strings from the nut to the tuners are not as dramatic as on a standard Les Paul style guitar. And so we don't have any tuning issues whatsoever on this guitar, which is really nice. We also have a slight tilt back design, but it's not as dramatic as on a Les Paul. So you don't have to worry about the headstock breaking off on this guitar, which is also obviously very nice. And the last little modern upgrade we have here on the back is locking tuners. And of course, they work great. They make tuning a bit faster, and I think they should be on every electric guitar. I don't care what anyone else says. Now, as we move down to the neck, this is where we have some interesting mixing of modern and traditional. So first, the traditional stuff. As you can see, we do have a nice rosewood fingerboard. I like this darker brown rosewood. It looks great. Plus the standard black inlays you would expect on a guitar like this. On the back, we do have maple as well, so still pretty traditional. And I went with Kiesel's thicker profile, but I will say this is not as thick as a traditional Les Paul, so you don't have to worry about that if you don't like that particular feel. I like chunky necks, and I could personally go a bit chunkier, but this is still chunky enough for me, so that's great. But here's where we get a bit more modern, and I think this is definitely a worthy upgrade. On the back, we have a tongue oil finish, which is nice and smooth. I know a lot of people really like the nitrocellulose finish that comes on Gibson and those type of guitars. I've never liked it. I've always found that it's a bit too sticky. I don't mind once it wears off, then the guitar feels fine to me, but I think a tongue oil finish or satin back is better. This one feels absolutely phenomenal. And of course, since Kiesel does everything built to order, if you wanted a gloss finish on the back, you could get that as well. But this is really great. And the other great thing we have are these nice stainless steel frets. So you never have to worry about these wearing out. And the fit and finish, fret edges, leveling, all of that, of course, is perfect. I'm not sure if you noticed my shirt, but this is Bonnie Tyler. She doesn't like to be held, and she's going to probably hit me and run very soon, but here she is. Bonnie, say hi to the camera. Okay, all right, well, there we go. So we have the traditional woods, but a little bit more of a modern finish on the back, plus of course the stainless steel. I think this is the best combination possible. Now, somewhere where I wanted to go 100% traditional was the body. And so Kiesel does offer you the option to have chambering or weight relief, but I said, I don't want any of that. If you can, please try to select a heavier piece of wood. And yeah, this guitar is not lightweight. I don't know how much it weighs, I will put it on screen, but it is definitely fairly heavy. And we'll talk about that heaviness and the tone a bit later, because I have some opinions there. Some of you are not going to like them, but we'll get to that later. Point being, this is a really nice, heavy mahogany body with a maple cap, as you can see, but it is a lot more comfortable than a standard Les Paul because we have a nice belly cut on the back, and then on the front, I'm not exactly sure if it's just my imagination, but the edge doesn't feel as sharp as a traditional Les Paul. I might be making that up because the rest of the body feels so comfortable, but yeah, to me, this is a much more comfortable version of a Les Paul style body. The really great thing is on the back, we have a really beautiful sculpted heel joint. So your thumb can get way up here very comfortably, and you can reach every single fret, which you usually have a much harder time doing on a traditional Les Paul. So guys, a little peek behind the curtain. I don't like spending time recording tone demos, to be honest. So I'm just going to show you how this guitar sounds from my actual morning practice session. I'm not like all the other YouTubers who say, I don't practice at all. I practice every single morning for several hours because I actually want to get better at guitar. Crazy thought, right? But anyway, morning practice. Of course, I have my companion, Bonnie Tyler, keeping me company. Bonnie, say hi. All right, let's get into it. As you can probably see, I went with a gloss finish. Again, I could have went with a satin, but I really like having a gloss finish on the bodies of guitars because I like the idea of being able to anchor my arm as I play without it sliding around. And of course, the final piece for me is the Perform X. I have a link for this below if you want to get one yourself. If you ever see my different guitar videos and you see a guitar in the background that has one of the Perform X's, that pretty much tells you which guitar I'm playing the most. Well, unless it's a headless guitar, because I don't need one with headless guitars. But for all of my guitars with headstocks, if you see one that has the Perform X, that means I've been playing it a lot lately. In terms of the controls, we have exactly what you would expect. 3-way switch, 2-tone knobs, 2 volume knobs, and I don't have any push-pulls or things like, whoops, I actually didn't know that. I guess Kiesel did put push-pulls on here, but as I was going to say, since I never use push-pull pots, I usually don't ask for them anyway, but thank you to Kiesel for adding them. We will see for the first time on camera together what the split sounds of these pickups actually are. I kid you not, I've had this guitar for at least 2 months testing it, and I have never tried the split coil tones. Oh my God, I'm not a bridge pickup guy, and I'm definitely not a single coil guy, but this bridge pickup split sounds so good. Okay, I guess we should also try the neck. Yeah, the neck pickup split for me is fine. Again, I would never use a neck pickup split. Then again, I also said that I would never use a bridge pickup split. That bridge pickup split tone to me is even more nice than the bridge pickup full tone. Let me know in the comments what you think. I feel like that bridge pickup split tone is just crazy good. Ho ho ho! Wow. Alright, so the two together might be even better than the bridge for that funky. That brings me to one of the things that I love most about this guitar, and there are a lot of things, but the first thing is the pickups. I don't remember exactly what pickups these are. Let me just... Okay. These are the... I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce these pickups, but I will put them on screen right now for you to see. This guitar is one of the best sounding guitars I have ever tried in my entire life for me. And I have to specify that because I go for a very specific tone that I've been chasing for a very long time. It's all about having a neck pickup that is honestly as warm and fat and dark as possible. I don't think I've ever heard a neck pickup that sounds too dark for me. Growing up, I was very much inspired by Pat Martino's tone on some of these old videos that probably had deteriorated, which made them sound even less clear. And I just love that sound of a dark neck pickup. So my signature tone that everyone hates so much. Too much reverb, it's too dark, it's too muddy. Here it is. So yeah, I hope you can hear how just rich and warm and wide the tone is. It's like so big and all-encompassing. All of my time spent playing guitar is playing by myself for myself. I don't spend a lot of time playing with other people. So I want my guitar to fill up the entire tonal spectrum. I want this to sound like an entire room of people playing. That's just me. And part of that is just having a big tone. This is not always the best thing if you're going to be in a band situation, because there needs to be space for the piano and the drums and the singer. But if you're by yourself, this ginormous wide palette. Yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing. These pickups not only have that, but they have it unlike any guitar I have ever heard in my entire life. And this is why I brought up the idea of the weight of the guitar. I have owned a lot of Kiesel guitars and a lot of Carvin guitars. I would say at least 10. I will put all of them on screen for you right now. All different types of bodies and pickups, but the one thing they all had in common is that they were all fairly lightweight. This is the first Kiesel guitar that I have ever had, Kiesel or Carvin, that is exceptionally heavy, at least compared to the other guitars. And it's also the only one that has this level of sustain, this level of warmth, and just fatness in the neck pickup tone. And I know in the 2010s and 2020s, the internet has decided that the weight of a guitar and the wood of the guitar doesn't really matter for the tone or the sustain or anything like that. But I'll just say, I can't explain why this guitar sounds like this apart from some of those things. You've seen all the Les Paul style guitars I have tried in this series, and none of them sound like this. I think it really has to do with... I won't say it. And then of course we have the vibrato bridge, and these are made by Hipshot, and this also really surprised me because I've never tried this exact Hipshot bridge before, and I have to say, it's quite nice, especially on a guitar like this. It's currently set up with 3 springs, so it's not super light. You do have to give it a little bit of force to use, which I really like, but it is extremely smooth, and I just think it pairs really well with this guitar. That sounded like a pretentious wine expert, which I am not, but I am, I guess, a nerdy, pretentious guitar enjoyer. The ultimate sign of whether or not a guitar is a good fit for me is honestly where I play it and when I play it. So when it comes to a standard guitar that I get in here to review, I always play it a lot as kind of a testing thing. But when I start picking up that guitar to play it in lesson videos and courses with my students online, then I know that that guitar is special because I don't have to be playing it in that time, but I'm choosing to play it. When I wake up at 4:30 in the morning to do my morning practice, if I reach for one specific guitar day after day after day after day, that tells me that that guitar is special, at least to me, and this has been one of those guitars. I personally believe that it's a unicorn, that something about the weight and these pickups and how they're currently set up and all of that stuff, I think it all somehow combined to make the perfect neck pickup sounding guitar for me with a tremolo bridge on a single cut. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe every Kiesel like this sounds like this, but I love this one. The Les Paul experiment is over. By the way, I know we're talking about gear, but if you want to do more than talk about gear, i.e. if you actually want to get better at playing guitar, and you're a busy adult with a family and all of that stuff, my community link below is the place for you. I give you real structure, feedback, and I guide you through the process of actually getting better. And, well, since we all like gear, there's some gear stuff there for you as well. So if you want to hang out with some really great people and actually make your guitar progress fun, definitely click the first link below.